Last time on Everdark Academy, we met Lord Ryder, a Weren vampire who is gifted with the rare ability to shift into multiple animal forms and is rumored to be the immortal Weren reborn. These last facts are causing tensions between him and his master, Lawson Hughes. Under Hughes's leadership, the Weren want nothing to do with the Academy, believing their own ways are better than the new ways. But Demas, Ryder's best friend and blood brother, warns Ryder that Hughes is not their real leader. That Ryder is, if he chooses to be. Demas and Ryder go to Earth to pick up the student Gregory Starn, only to meet Grayson Duke instead. Everdark Academy, Episode 5, Truth and Lies. The vampire who had spoken to him grasped Grayson's biceps with both hands and lifted him off of the floor. Grayson let out a yelp of surprise, but the vampire simply placed Grayson physically behind him, and then used his own body as a shield from anyone who might come through the front doors of the church. Before Grayson had realized that this vampire was simply moving him to protect him, he had stiffened, and a broken pew near him had shifted as his gift activated. The black vampire's head shot towards the sound. The pew was still firmly on the ground, but Grayson could have swung it like a bat at the vampire's heads if he had needed to. But he didn't need to. They weren't his enemies. Not yet, anyway. The black vampire turned back to Grayson and frowned. Somehow, he suspected that Grayson was the cause of the pew shifting.
They're vampires. They can believe in the paranormal because they are paranormal.
Unease flitted through him. The Horus vampire woman had seemed awfully interested in him because of his gift. Would these vampires also be? But he let the pew go from his mental grasp, careful not to let it simply fall with a bang as his strength was already at a low ebb. He didn't want to attract the black vampire's attention again either. He needed these creatures on his side. He was in no fit state to fight himself. Both of these vampires were huge and moved with the grace of big cats. When he'd first seen them, he'd known exactly what they were. He wondered how people hadn't realized that vampires existed before they revealed their own existence to the world.
Predators through and through. Sleek predators with the facade of civilization to them, but wild somehow.
These two vampires were beautiful, which made their predatoriness that much more dangerous. The black vampire had skin as dark and smooth as ebony. That skin covered rippling muscles. He had a broad, emotive face and an intelligent brow, which meant he could put those muscles to good use in a fight. He wasn't a blunt instrument by any means, but a strategist. That would be needed against the Horus vampire. The bearded vampire was massive all over. His bare chest, which was exposed almost completely by the leather jacket he wore alone, with no shirt underneath, was cut like a diamond. There looked to be no spare fat on him. He had chiseled features and generous lips that his neatly trimmed beard didn't hide. His eyes were silver, as all vampire eyes were, except for King Damon and Prince Julian's. But there was a warmth in them that Grayson had not expected to see, but it was likely a ruse to draw prey in. Despite the two vampires clearly being born of different parents, there was something alike in them both. Grayson would have called them brothers. He'd been an only child, but he'd always wished he had a brother, someone to look after him and someone for him to look up to, but he'd always been on his own. Not even his parents had been there to help him. He hadn't expected vampires to be so close to one another, but these ones were. Yet even if they were friends to each other, and despite the warmth in those eyes now, the moment the bearded vampire had pointed out that he was not Gregory Starn, Grayson knew that lying was not an option. With those powerful muscles, they could have simply ripped him apart without breaking a sweat. It had been the right move, nevertheless. Any lie he could come up with wouldn't have held water for long. Clearly they knew what Gregory Starn looked like. He and the dead man bore no resemblance whatsoever to one another. He was sure there were other safeguards as well to make certain that only people who belonged in the Everdark got in. But a picture of the student was the easiest way to confirm an identity. Besides, if he'd lied, then there would have been too many questions, and he was sure that the Horus vampire and her cohorts were on his tail. He'd impaled her on the shelf. She was wounded, badly, but he knew that she wouldn't let that stop her. She'd likely killed again, so that the blood of some other innocent could heal her wounds completely. The only question was whether they would follow him in here where there were others of their kind present, or would they slink away? If it was the latter, he wasn't sure what he was going to do. We need to get him through the gate, Timos.
Well, this evening has just gotten better and better, hasn't it, Ryder? I wonder if we'll get demerits or something by sending an uninvited human to Nightfallen.
Yeah, that's been a damn blast, and they can give us all the demerits they want to. Doesn't matter if we're in last place. Ryder's silver eyes focused on Grayson. We're sending you to the Everdark. Going through the gate is unpleasant, but you'll be fine.
I'm not going to the Everdark.
His plan had been to find some more vampires to deal with the Sect of Dawn. He'd found them. He needed to go no further into the vampire world. He just wanted to be free of them. Why not? Not that you have a choice about it. Grayson's cheeks heated, and he mentally was touching that pew again. But those eyes were kind. He grimaced and let it go as he growled out,
I'm not a wannabe vampire. I just want you two to take care of the ones coming after me, and then I'll be on my way.
Be on your way, will you? I don't think so, little one. There are questions that need answering. Ones like how you managed to not get killed and made your way here when a vampire was after you.
Alarm spiked in Grayson. He licked suddenly dry lips. What kind of vampires were these? Were they the Eros ones that could read minds? Even if they weren't, he was sure that there would be tons of those in the Everdark. They'd know what he could do, and then He didn't know what they'd do to him, but he was sure it wouldn't be good. It was never good when his gift was revealed, and that meant he couldn't explain anything about what had really happened at the shop.
They were busy killing other people, so I ran.
Grayson lied. They'd already killed everyone but him. He'd just staked their leader and kept the other two out with a jammed door.
You outran a vampire.
Demos chuckled again, even as his silver eyes narrowed with suspicion.
You just keep bringing up more and more questions with every word you say.
They were busy, like I said. They didn't come after me right away. I managed to lose them.
Outran them. Lost them. Next you're going to tell us that you outfought them too.
He actually had, but he understood Demos's disbelief. Sam had been gone in a second when that vampire woman had determined she wanted a snack. Only his gift, and a lot of luck, had brought him here unscathed. But again, he couldn't tell them any of that.
I'm thinking there weren't any vampires.
Demos pointed a finger at Grayson's chest. He advanced with every word.
You just killed Gregory Starn and took his invitation. You figured out a story that would get you into the Everdark while pretending to not want to go.
What? No!
Grayson was horrified, but saw how that was a more believable explanation than him evading 3 vampires. He wondered if they'd believe his denial less or more if he told them that these vampires were part of the Sect of Dawn, a group that supposedly hated their kind.
I didn't. He came in already stabbed. He was dying. I tried calling an ambulance and the cops, but they didn't come.
And why was that?
Demos's eyes were slits. He was now just a foot away from Grayson. Ryder stood there observing them both, not showing anything he was feeling. Did he think like Demos did? That Grayson was a killer? He met those silver eyes, but he found no comfort there. Ryder might not believe one way or the other.
I don't know, but I think...
Was he really going to tell them about the Sect of Dawn now? Evidently, he was.
In for a penny, in for a pound. They're not alone. They're part of a group called the Sect of Dawn. They intercepted my calls to emergency... What? Why are you laughing again?
The Sect of Dawn? That's straight out of a comic book, little one. And you made another mistake. The Sect of Dawn hates...
Vampires, yeah, I know. I don't understand it either, but that's what Gregory said. I'm telling the truth.
Little one, you're either a fool or crazy. But we're not to be messed with. And the people we're going to take you to, Well, they definitely aren't the ones you want to be lying to.
Ryder stepped between them, holding up a hand to Demos. Enough. The boy is scared out of his wits. Something happened to him.
Killing somebody will do that. Lawson said that this academy shit would cause humans to tear each other apart, and it's already starting with this innocent-faced kid.
Maybe that innocence isn't just skin deep. We don't know. Maybe his story will check out.
It better, or he won't have much of a mind left when those Iros get done with him.
Before Grayson could say or do anything in response to that, there was a sound. A roof tile, sliding down the sloped roof and falling to the ground. Everyone's head jerked up towards the ceiling. The roof was still intact, or so it seemed. A loose roof tile could have been dislodged due to the rain or age or neglect. It didn't have to be a booted foot kicking it loose as that person crawled along the roof above their heads. Grayson's mouth filled with bitter-tasting saliva. Were there other vampires here? That would be both a blessing and a curse.
Story of my life.
Grayson realized he needed to tell them how many of their kind they faced.
There's more than one.
How many?
Demos asked as he drew out a knife. It was a small knife, more like a curved dagger just 4 inches long. Grayson stared at the knife. What was Demos doing? And why? And did it involve him? Seeing where Grayson's distress was coming from, Ryder explained. He needs the blood to write the symbol to reopen the gate to the Everdark.
I'm not going there, remember?
Why don't you want to go? Is it because you killed Gregory? Are you afraid that the Iros will dig that secret from your mind?
No.
Grayson's eyes darted to the ceiling again. Was the chandelier up there shaking slightly as someone walked across the roof? Why weren't these vampires checking it out? What's your name?
Is it really the time for that?
He definitely thought he heard a boot scraping on top of them. Was it the Horus vampire? Was she up there just dreaming about sinking her teeth into his throat? Tell me your name, or I'll just call you Little One. Ryder's lips twisted into a smile.
Little? I'm not as big as you two, but it's Grayson, okay? Happy now?
Grayson immediately regretted answering. Ryder had baited him, but to be called Little One, like he was some kind of pet or something, it was not sweet, or endearing, or anything like that to hear Little One coming out of Ryder's mouth.
So are you the good cop while he's the bad cop?
Ryder lifted that eyebrow again. Sometimes we switch.
Yeah, he's got the sunnier disposition. Good cop suits him better.
Demos's eyes, though, weren't on Grayson or Ryder. They were unfocused, as if he weren't seeing anything at all. Or maybe he was seeing beyond the church's walls. Listen, Grayson, you are going to the Everdark. So long as your story checks out, I'm certain they will let you go. Ryder's silver eyes stared into his.
But if it doesn't, let me tell you that even other vampires don't like Iros for a reason.
Did you know that the first epic-length story in this series, Everdark, is also available as an audio story? It's published in full on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. If you haven't heard it yet, why not check it out? It's complete at 147 chapters and leads straight into Everdark Academy. I'll post a link to the YouTube playlist and the Spotify channel in the notes.
I'm not lying.
He wasn't lying about killing Gregory or Sam, or even who had done it. But if the Iros really could read minds so well, then they'd know about Grayson's gift. Once he went to the Everdark, he doubted he would ever return once they discovered that. Maybe they'd want to drink his blood, to see if it transferred the gift to them. Maybe they'd want to take him apart. Would this vampire with the kind eyes care about either of those possibilities? Grayson felt the world dim a bit around him. Fear had him in her cold grip. He tried to force it down. He'd been calm at the store, but now he felt like he was running on the fumes of his self-control. It was all too much. Gregory, dead. Sam, dead. He'd impaled a woman, and now his whole pitiful life might be over. He must have swayed, because Ryder had a hold of him. Whoa there, it's okay. You're okay. Demos and I won't let anything happen to you. Ryder's silver eyes burned with the truth of his promise.
You don't understand.
What don't I understand? Ryder's deep voice was soft, appealing.
Now don't you go falling for a pretty face, Ryder.
Demos. Demos's words were like cold water thrown over his head. Grayson shook himself. He couldn't give way. He couldn't confess anything to this vampire. He had to take care of himself, like he always did. There was no one and nothing that would do it better.
I don't want to go there. I don't like vampires, so I don't want to go to a world filled with you. Why can't you just get that through your head?
Ryder's right eyebrow rose as Grayson then pulled away from him. Grayson firmed his legs beneath him. He had to stand on his own goddamn 2 feet, but he noted that Ryder wasn't that offended by what he had said, because the vampire kept watching him to see if he fell. A wail wanted to exit Grayson's throat. Being weak in front of these predators was so dangerous, and he was failing.
Oh, you don't like us? Well, you're in a very small minority. The powers that be likely won't let you stay in the Everdark, Grayson, if you're telling the truth. Everyone there is important or is there for a very special reason. You? Doubt you fit either category. So don't worry. You'll be coming back here soon enough, no matter what you want, if I'm being honest.
People want power. People don't want to be prey. Humans have been the rulers of this world for a long time. Suddenly they find out they're not. They don't like you. They simply want to keep being on top.
Grayson glared at Demos, daring him to say otherwise.
You're not lying about that.
Demos's smile was genuine as his eyes focused again. There had been no sounds from the roof in some time. Maybe it was just a false alarm, or maybe those vampires were simply keeping out of sight. That didn't help Grayson's case. This meant that they would definitely be taking him to the Everdark and the Iros to find out the truth. But even if he could escape these two, and he doubted that, wouldn't that just leave him exposed to the sect of Dawn?
What if the Horus vampire woman already called her comrades and told them about me? That means that even if she's taken care of, others could come after me.
Grayson's stomach made a sickening lurch. Then he thought of her personality.
No, she wouldn't want to admit her failure. She would do everything she could to catch me on her own.
He silently prayed that his assessment of her was right. Ryder made one more glance at the roof, even though there had been no sounds. I think we should go.
Agreed.
No, please. Let's stay here a bit more. They'll come and you'll see I'm telling the truth.
Ryder's expression twisted. He clearly saw Grayson's fear, and it affected him in a way that Grayson didn't think a predator would experience. It was empathy, sadness for him. But Ryder was not changing his mind. We can do that more safely for you in the Everdark. Demos then strode to the back wall of the church, behind where the altar should have been. Though Grayson was not at all religious, he wondered that the vampires would use a church as one of their gates, a gate that required the person to write a symbol in blood, it seemed, on the wall. They both watched as Demos then cut his finger and used the blood to write a symbol. The symbol shimmered for a few moments, and then went dark.
What the hell?
Demos drew the symbol again. This time it didn't even shimmer. He spun around to face them, his expression a mixture of annoyance and alarm.
Something's wrong here. Am I writing the symbol wrong?
It's perfect. It should work.
What's that?
Grayson pointed towards a brick, towards the bottom of the wall that flickered with a strange green light. Ryder went over to it and hunkered down. He touched the brick briefly and jerked his hand away as if it was hot. He got out a phone and took a picture of it before rising to his feet. Ryder wore a look of grim determination on his face. We need to get to another gate. This messed up the gate.
Messed up the gate? The sect had Gregory's letter. They knew where this gate was. They did something to it so that... What? To stop him from going? And delay him somehow?
A cold chill went through him. They did need to get out of there.
The nearest gate for Nightfall is 30 miles away. I'll get us a ride. I know a general house number in this city, but...
No.
Why not?
Because if Grayson is telling the truth, then any vampire we call may be in on this. We boost the car. We get out of here as fast and quiet as we can. We talk to no one until we get him to the Everdark. Grayson again wanted to argue. He didn't want or need to go there, but that would fall on deaf ears. Besides, he now had 30 miles to get away somehow. to get every vampire out of his life. How many vampires are there? Ryder looped an arm around Grayson's waist. It would have looked like a friendly hold, but Grayson guessed it was to keep him from running.
3. 1 woman and 2 men, I think. I got a really good look at the woman, but not them. She's really quick. Oh, and I think she's one of those Asher vampires. That or Horus.
At his words, Demos and Ryder shared another of those looks.
Everybody knows your guys' powers. They're not secret.
Okay, fair enough. But why exactly do you think that she was from one of those bloodlines? What did she do? Ryder's voice was remarkably calm, though it was clear he was on alert.
He's a warrior of some sort. Maybe he was before he was turned. He's done this before. She threw a door at me. She threw the door of the store inside.
Grayson grimaced. Ryder's expression was neutral. Unlike Demos, who clearly knew Grayson was omitting things, he couldn't read Ryder at all. It was far more unnerving.
I don't know if she used her mind to throw it in, or maybe with a gust of wind. She didn't do anything else. She...
Grayson again saw her mouth, red with Sam's blood in his mind, and he trembled. Ryder's hands moved from his waist to Grayson's shoulders, steadying him. He normally didn't like being touched by someone he didn't know. Hell, even people he did know. But this touch was surprisingly good. Yet he still stiffened, and Ryder dropped his hands.
She killed my friend, too. Like he was nothing.
I'm sorry.
You sound like you mean it.
The words left Grayson's mouth before he could stop them. Why wouldn't I?
You're a vampire.
There's no time to school him about how vampires work, Ryder. We have more important problems. I say we haul ass out the back way.
Sounds good. Again, that strong arm was around Grayson, steering him to the back of the church and down a hallway that smelled of dry rot and rat droppings. Grayson thought this was the type of place where the homeless and junkies would hang out. He would have stayed here back in the day, but it was remarkably free of people. Only vampires could keep the desperate away from this place. They neared the back door at the end of the hall when Demos froze. Ryder did the same thing and was once more shoving Grayson protectively behind him. Before Demos or Ryder could explain, they suddenly stopped. A voice rose up from outside.
I think we've been discovered.
Her voice was filled with laughter, as if this was going to be fun.
You'd best just bring the boy out to me. He's been very naughty. Don't let me ask twice.
So, this first meeting between Ryder and Grayson isn't exactly a meet cute, more suspicion cute. Is that a thing? Both of them are coming at this with no thought of romance, yet. That yet is a source of love many times. But before they can indulge in that yet, they have some other vampires to get past. Again, I really want to thank you guys for listening and commenting, sharing and liking and subscribing. It just really overwhelms me and overwhelms the cast. And we're so grateful that you're here and with us and supporting us in this way. So thank you so much, and I can't wait to hear what you think.